Yes, now ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Rants YouTube channel. As promised, I need to keep up with this, and I know I promised it, and I said it, and I did some of them, and I didn't do them all, but WWE moves fast, and if you miss a day or two, you're fucked, because there's so much to catch up on. And honestly, it took me about 4 attempts to watch Halloween Havoc. It was just very long, and there was a lot of matches. It wasn't bad pay-per-view whatsoever. It just took me a couple of attempts to watch, and then it's crazy that I say that because today I've watched Raw, NXT and SmackDown for this week all in one day. So yeah, and finished Halloween Havoc this morning, which is mental. Anyways, let's kick it off. The first match kicking it off was the WWE trying to get TNA and AAA involved in the same show. We had the amazing tag team of Javon Evans and Leon Slater, the X Division champion from TNA, taking on Mr. Iguana and La Parka from AAA. Can I just say, obviously it's coincidental that they're at Halloween Havoc, but La Parka is perfect for Halloween Havoc, first of all. And this had the potential to be a great match. Both teams, both incredibly athletic wrestlers, very talented wrestlers who should mix very well and probably do. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was the stage of WWE. Maybe it was the night. Maybe it was AAA wrestlers trying to wrestle a bit more in the WWE way of wrestling and less in the AAA way of wrestling. But there was quite a few botches, I'll be real. And I think it was more on the part of La Parka and Mr. Iguana, but I'm not going to name blame, there might just be bad communication. But there was a couple botches which kind of did ruin the match for me, but it had potential, it was entertaining. I do like that they get AAA and TNA involved. If I would have made predictions for this, I didn't have time. Not that I didn't have time, but I missed it. My prediction would have been Javon Evans and Leon Slater, and that's who got the win. Leon Slater pinned Mr. Iguana, which I was quite surprised by. I thought La Parka would get pinned, but here we are. Yeah, decent match, but the botches kind of ruined it for me. I'll be real. Now, hang on. We had 6 matches. There was a lot of matches. The next match was Ethan Page versus Dr. Wagner Jr. Dr. Wagner Jr. has a belt. I can't remember what the belt was called in TNA, but he was going after Ethan Page's North American title. Given that Ethan Page already had a shot at Wagner's belt, and this feud's been going on for a while. Wagner and Ethan Page have been going at each other. Ethan Page has been showing up at AAA. Dr. Wagner Jr. had been showing up at NXT. It was about time this got ended, and it was in a Day of the Dead match, which essentially Extreme Rules, no holds barred, anything goes. Basically, all these matches that have these different stipulation names, they're all the same thing, really. Yeah, this was a banging match, and if I was to pick a winner, obviously I would pick Ethan Page, and that is what happened. But the match was fantastic. I mean, the weapons used, the violence we had Ethan Page bleeding quite early. It was hard hitting. And we actually had Dr. Wagner Jr.'s mask ripped open. You could see the guy's face. And it was brutal, man. Seeing him get the Eagle's Edge on the trash can. I can't even remember what the actual ending was, but it was a fantastic match. And it just makes me like Ethan Page all the more. And to be honest, if I was to look at that match card and think what match is going to be the most boring, I probably would have picked that one. And in my opinion, it was the best match of the night. But I'll save that for match of the night segment at the end. But that was a fantastic match. Now, the third match of the night was the weird one, where Zarya was defending Sol Ruka's North American title for her against Blake Monroe. Now, a couple shenanigans in the match. Blake Monroe tried to use the hair pick, didn't work. She did push Zarya into Sol Ruka, and then pinned Zarya and became the new Women's North American Champion, which obviously means Sol Ruka's no longer the Women's North American Champion, which might have caused some controversy between Zarya and Sol Ruka, but we'll have to see when we talk about NXT, won't we? Sad for Sol Ruka. I don't know if this is a genuine injury or if this is just a storyline they're playing, because she's not off the shelf. She's not like gone from WWE, but we'll talk about that when we get the NXT one. But yeah, I'm happy for Blake Monroe. Blake Monroe is a great champion. already. Like, she's not even done nothing with the belt yet, and she's already a great champion because we know she has the minerals to be a fantastic champion. She plays her character very well, and she's got star power. So yeah, she's going to be a great Women's North American champion. If I had to pick a winner, that's obviously where I thought that probably would have gone also. Not to call myself a genius, but like, not, and it's not predictable either. I just thought, yeah, that's who I probably would have thought would have won. The next match, I would not have predicted. Now, remember when Tatum Paxley earned this shot at the Women's NXT Championship, and I said, now it's weird that Tatum Paxley got pinned by JC Jane on the episode of NXT before Halloween Havoc. I said that could mean that they're planning to shock us at Halloween Havoc and have Tatum Paxley come out as the ultimate underdog. However, I didn't see it going that way because Tatum Paxley did turn around and beat up everyone at the end. I did think that this would probably go on a bit longer. I thought JC Jane would retain this time and would have a bit of a longer storyline where Tatum Paxley chases the title. But boy, was I, surprised. I mean, the culling, fatal influence, all got kicked from ringside, and in the end, at the end of the day, Tatum Paxley got the win and won the NXT Women's Championship. I mean, I'm surprised, but then again, this got spoiled for me. This is why I need to watch wrestling events the next day or when it's live. But obviously, being in UK, that's never going to happen. Before I go on in social media, because with it happening, with me watching it nearly a week after it's happened, I'm going to use social media in that time, and I see spoilers. I seen it on a thread. I seen Tatum Paxley holding the NXT title, and I thought, fuck, that got ruined for me. And so Saturday night's main event, I've seen half the winners already. I've not even watched the thing, which is a shame, but whatever. Yeah, happy for Tatum Paxley. I mean, she's going to be a great NXT Women's Champion, and maybe the story with Izzy Dame is going to be quite interesting. Didn't see it coming. Wouldn't necessarily say it should have happened. I'm happy it happened. I don't mind it. But then when I think about it, I'm like, you know what? JC Jane did overstay her welcome as NXT champion. Don't get me wrong, it didn't get stale. She was very good the whole way through. But no one expected JC Jane to be NXT Women's Champion for that long. So, fair enough, WWE. You've proved yourself. JC Jane's proved herself. I'm pleased. I'm pleased. The next match was the Hardy Boys versus Dark State. Obviously, the Hardy Boys said they were awoken, and I forgot what they called the match, but it's basically another Extreme Rules match. There was ladders, there was many tables, there was chairs, and if I had to pick a winner, I would have said Dark State. And here's the thing that kind of pissed me off about the match, because it was the Hardy Boys versus Osiris Griffin and Dion Lennox of Dark State, but all 4 Dark State members were legal, but Saquon Sugars and Cutler James weren't in the match, but they were legal. How exactly does that make sense? I mean, it means they can jump in at any time and help them, but isn't that any Extreme Rules match? Isn't that any match that has weapons involved? Can't other people get involved? And if they're legal, why was there times where both of them weren't doing anything? That makes no sense. Surely the 4 of them would just beat up the Hardy Boys and take the titles. But to be fair, the Hardy Boys, despite that, the Hardy Boys did do their best to dispose of many of the members, and they did. The Hardy Boys really surprised me tonight because, you'd think age would show. And if we're talking 2018, Jeff Hardy in WWE, age was showing then. And they smashed it out of the park, I'll be real. The Hardy Boys were the real winners. Being able to perform at that age, to that level, it was fantastic. But the inevitable happened. Dark State won the titles. I'm not mad about it because I was happy when Dark State won the titles in the first place. I think they'd be brilliant for the tag team titles. Obviously, this short run for the Hardy Boys had to happen for the sake of TNA, which I'm not mad at either. I enjoyed their little reign. It was nice to see. But Dark State are champions again. Get ready for a long reign. Let's go. And finally, the main event. Now, obviously, this was a bit of a predictable win. I'm going to go out on a whim and say Trick Williams isn't TNA World Champion anymore. I don't watch TNA, so I don't know. But he didn't have it on NXT, didn't have it at Halloween Havoc, and he hasn't had it on this version of NXT after Halloween Havoc, which obviously I'll get into later. Pretty decent match. I was sort of watching it because I was trying to travel to work this morning while I was watching this match. But from what it looked like, and I could be wrong, but it looked like Trick Williams dominated the whole match, and then Ricky Sainz came out at the end and won, with 3 moves. Because I think the crowd seemed a bit, not just surprised, but a bit pissed at the ending. And if that was the case, I'd be mad too. But Ricky Saints obviously retained. We didn't expect him to lose the title this early. Just move Trick Williams up to the main roster. It's more than time. It's overdue. Think how many wrestlers we have on the shelf, right? And then think how many wrestlers we have who are part-timers. We could do with more people on the roster, you know? Because some people need to get moved up to the main event. Because with Seth Rollins on the shelf, Roman Reigns being a part-timer, we have Randy Orton, never really big in there. We have Brock Lesnar, part-timer. John Cena, part-timer. AJ Styles is leaving soon. He's not even in the main event picture anyway. And we've got the same matches between Braun Breaker, LA Knight, CM Punk, Jey Uso every week. Drew McIntyre holding it down for SmackDown. Cody Rhodes barely showing up despite being the champion. We need more stars, you know. Either bring Trick Williams in and have him be a star, or move more people up in the roster and bring Trick Williams in the mid-card. Because I'm sick of this. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. He's not going stale. They're doing a good job of keeping Trick Williams entertaining and keeping him in storylines. But, man, I think it's overdue, personally. I think it's overdue. The fact that Carmelo Hayes went over a year ago and Trick Williams still hasn't went just really surprises me. But it was a great event. Very long. I mean, I don't know about nearly 3 hours for an NXT event, but there was 6 matches, so fair enough. Each match was quality. And match of the night segment, I think you already know what I'm going to say, but I have to say it. Match of the night was Ethan Page, Dr. Wagner Jr. What a match that was. And that was my reaction to Halloween Havoc. Please leave a comment on what you thought about it in the comments below. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.